Good morning, Pastor Nathan Decker with your hashtag Better Together devotion, and ow, that hurt. Ow! Today, I'm continuing this discussion on what does it mean to live like Jesus. And one of the things that Jesus says within that whole Sermon on the Mount thing, as he's teaching us about what it is to be a disciple, is Jesus makes this extreme statement, and he says, when someone hits you on your right cheek, turn your other cheek. Turning the cheek. We've turned this into a colloquial phrase, to turn the other cheek. You should turn the other cheek. Turn the other cheek. What exactly are we talking about? What does this mean? Well, for Jesus, it means that we start off from a stance of non-violence. There was this understanding in the Old Testament, and you've heard it before, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, which in its own self was a limitation on bloodlust and vengeance. Jesus takes it a step further within the law of compassion and says, violence is going to just continue being violent and begetting violence, to borrow some other things, unless we are truly, truly going to stop it somewhere. We have to stop the violence somewhere. And for Jesus, he teaches us as a people of faith that starts with us, that we are called to be non-violent. And Jesus is willing to take this not just in terms of a sermon. It's one thing to preach something. It's an entirely different thing to live it out. And he lives it out as the author of everything, the creator, as the almighty powerful, and he is willing to turn the other cheek when we as humanity start nailing nails into his hands and start beating him and put a cross of thorns upon his head and hang him upon the cross. His response to our violence is not to call down angels and armies and destroy us, but instead, Jesus responds, Father, forgive them. They don't understand what they're doing. So many times we see rage and anger expressed in violence. And the only way to combat that violence is through restraint and through being nonviolent. And that's what Jesus is trying to teach us when he says, turn the other cheek. He's trying to tell us that by offering ourselves to the other person again, after they've done something wrong to us, we show them grace, we show them that law of compassion, and we show them that there's another way for them to express the emotions and the raw energy that is within them. We show them a path of love instead of hate. We show them an option of not being violent, but instead finding creative expression for what's going on in their heart of hearts. Behind every instance of violence, there is a tremendous trauma and pain that needs to be unpacked so that it can blossom and bloom like a bulb we plant in the fall. It becomes a tulip or a lily in the spring. This is Pastor Nathan Decker encouraging you to turn the other cheek so that we all can be better together. Amen.